I come from a design thinking background where we learned human-centered design, where technology is in service to the user. We apply this same principle to AI. It's the next technology, but still in service to the user. Using the example of an eco-conscious clothing brand, let's look at the 5 elements of human-centered AI. The first element is judgment. So we talked before about how you take information, put it into the LLM, and it gives you that output. So what are we doing with that output? That's the essence of human-centered AI. First of all, we say we have to apply judgment. Judgment is broad strokes. Is this good or bad? Does it align with our general objective? So in the case of the eco-conscious clothing brand, we're going to say, should we get into the eco-conscious market, or should we be a fast follower in the fast fashion market? This leads to the second element, which is discernment. Discernment is sort of those fine-tuning. So let's say our judgment leads us to be an eco-conscious brand. Then that discernment is, should we be an in-store, in-person experience? Should we be an online-only experience? That's an example of where your business acumen comes in, and only you really know the market conditions. Now, this is the fun part. The third element is creativity. And my mentor, Clark, loves creativity. It's our favorite part of the process. This is where you, as the human, get to say things like, yes, and how do we take that further to bring 2 seemingly disconnected ideas, bring them into one, and have that aha moment, which is what, quite frankly, I live for. Step 4 is ethics. Iterating with the LLM, judgment, discernment, creativity. Through that iteration, ultimately, we're going to come to an output. Now, the question becomes is that output ethical? For example, if the LLM guides us to produce clothes in a market with unsuitable labor practices, do we accept that because that's just the economically right thing to do, find the lowest cost of production? Or is it our ethics that we need to pay a living wage and reward our workers for their hard work? Again, the LLM is going to shy away from making that decision. You need to have a strong value set that sits on top of that. And then finally, once you make those ethical decisions, you need to bring in the 5th element, which is governance. How do we govern that, and what rules and processes are put in place so that those who come after us carry on our traditions or our legacy? Meaning, if I'm no longer the CEO and you take over, our customers are expecting a seamless brand experience. And that's what you need to deliver, which comes from governance. So again, recapping the 5 elements of human-centered AI, we focus on judgment, which is the broad decisions, discernment, the fine-tuning, adding creativity, the yes and aha moments, and from there, applying our ethical lens to ensure that the output from the LLM aligns with our values, and then finally, governance. How do we make this a replicable, repeatable, and sustainable process? As a high school student, why should you take this class? You don't deal with judgment and discernment. Well, actually, you do. Think about if you're using AI to help you write a term paper. You have to make the judgment, is AI the right tool to use, or should I write this myself? Then you have to discern, what information do I put into that term paper? Do I cite my sources, or do I just put them in blindly and hope that I don't get caught? This is where ethics come into play. Is that ethical? I would argue it's reasonable, but reasonable, it doesn't pass the ethics test. And that's why you have to sense, okay, if I were to receive this paper, would I view it as AI, or would I view it as just more AI slop or original content? You want it to be original content, where AI is your guide on the side, helping you through this process. And then finally, the governance piece. You should have your AI understand the expectations of what a paper involves, what level of creative license it's allowed to take, how it should cite sources, how it should play by the rules, whether those rules are your school's best practices or just you and your family's best practices. But either way, whether you're working for a company or a student, this is a process that you need to understand.